Because I'm in bed.
Okay. I'm here.
All right. June 20th version of the weekly business meeting. But let's get, some of you know, some of you don't, that we can't get started until I do my morning jog.
Are those juices flowing?
I did it. That's to add on the 3 miles I already did this morning. All right, for our on-time drawing. That's a little bragging, isn't it? Ooh. On-time drawing. All sorts of good stuff in here. What number do you need me to draw?
3.
3.
2, 4,
5, 8.
2, 1, 2.
All right, number 8.
1 last time.
Rich Rod.
Stop it.
Rich. What you got there? Huh?
Open it.
A commercial shirt?
He got a shirt, he got some folders, and he got some other
really good stuff.
really, really good stuff. All right, what's next? Next up, we have, make sure that you take pictures throughout. And then at the end, check it on Facebook at the Southwest Realty One group page. Here is our upcoming rev-ups. There is no rev-up tomorrow. So we start again. Module 1 starts next Wednesday, the 26th. That's so then we have Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday. Those are our rev-ups. They're all going to be at the Summerlin office. John,
Hey.
where to go? What's going on in the mortgage world?
Real
Rates
quick.
up, down?
It's like the elevator business.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is picking up actually on my side. So applications are coming in, seeing a lot and getting a lot of calls on down payment assistance. All right, that's going to be your market right now for the next 6 months. A lot of these guys, these are going to be the first ones that are getting in. Just know there's a lot of down payment products out there. We have access to a national one, all right, the local Nevada one, Nevada Housing, and we have an in-house one. Out of those 3, we can pretty much handle any option. Income limits, we can handle that. Geographic, we can handle that. First-time home buyers, so no matter what their situation, if they're making $140,000 a year and just don't save money, we can do it, all right? So just know that. One thing I want to bring your attention to, teachers. Nevada Housing has an amazing down payment assistance for teachers. The rate is lower and they get a $7,500 grant. That one is forgivable, okay? The rest of the Nevada Housing ones, they aren't forgiven. So later down the road, it's not like 3, 5, 10 years, whatever.
How's the grant works?
It's a second, it's a silent second. So basically they give you 4% down, or 4%. So if you buy a $300,000 home, they give you $12,000 to go towards down payment and closing costs. You don't have to make a payment on that as long as you're living in the house. You sell it, you gotta pay it back. The teachers, after 5 years, is forgiven. And every month they stay in, part of that is forgiven. So if they sell it in 2 years, they don't have to pay back the whole $7,500, it's prorated. So the teacher program is the best I've seen, across Arizona, Nevada, California. So if you are working with teachers, even if they don't need it, get it, because the rate's lower and it's forgivable, month by month.
How much
So
is the rate?
that one's at 7, all
For
right?
the teacher?
Yep, for a teacher, and it's conventional, all right? It's, right now, it's hard to get 7 or lower on conventional unless you got primo credit and good money to put down. It's doable, we can get down to 6.75.
And how much minimum income and minimum credit we need for that?
Minimum income, whatever they're looking for. They need the money to qualify, right? Maximum income, limits, that's going to be upwards, 120, 130 for Nevada, depending on which program they use. So, like I said, there are so many. So
And
to
credit, how much the minimum the credit is supposed to be?
620, yeah, okay? So like I said, every individual person is different and they have different needs. And that's why we have all these products to use. So if they get told no by another lender, they probably didn't have access to one of those products. All right? I know that I have enough products to handle pretty much every situation. So reach out if you have anybody. Don't try and handle it your own because there are so many pieces of the puzzle when it comes to it. I'll figure it out. So, all right. Reach out to me. Thanks, Mark.
Alrighty, Tricia,
Hi.
what do you got?
Okay, a couple things. Look, I got some July 4th fanfare, not just because it's cool, but we now offer military discounts. So when you are ordering on pro.ahs, you will see a button to click if they are a veteran or current military. I also, between me and you, allow some first responder type stuff in there. Click the button, it's $35 off, okay? Then my other big thing is payouts. Okay, remember, American Home Shield pays out to our vendors wholesale. First year contracts, meaning anybody that you put in an American Home Shield in the last year, not a renewal, not years ago, because once they renew, they're not a first year contract. Just want to give you an idea on payout. For this office alone, in the last 12 months, as of May, what do we think the payout has been in wholesale dollars? That means we have fixed how much money worth of stuff in this office alone in first year contracts.
75 grand.
A little lower, not quite that high. First year contracts, as soon as they renew, they're not considered a first year contract anymore. Anybody, come on, just shoot in the dark. It's like a,
6,000.
a little low, we're under 50.
40,000.
30, getting close, 35, 30, 34 and some change in the first, first 6 months of the year. It's only not, first 6 months of the year on a 12-month contract. Does that make sense? From January 1st to May 31st, how much we've paid out on anybody in the first year of their contract. It's a ton, 33,000.
This office?
That's just this office. And that's only first year contracts and only from January to May in money. So yeah, I'm excited. I think that's a great number. It shows we're paying out. Military discount. I learned something kind of interesting. I'll do one more question. Okay, seller's coverage, right? We know about seller's coverage. It's great to put on when you're during the listing period. It covers major systems, right? Major systems, electric, plumbing, HVAC, water heater, okay? Okay, what's great about it, being 8 months in, I've learned it is a $1,500 max, right? But we are hoping to get the buyer side of the contract, so we cover pre-existing or non-cover. So you have an inspection report and they're not thrilled with the rust on the water heater and there's a tiny little leak. Will we cover it during a seller's coverage period? Yes or no? It's a yes. Yes, okay, yes. Because we don't care about pre-existing during seller's coverage on those major systems. We consider it kind of like the cheap chicken at Costco, right? We want to get the buyer's contract. We will cover up to a max of $1,500. You'll probably still have out of pocket if you replace that water heater during seller's time because a water heater is typically a little bit more than $1,500.
Yeah.
But it can help alleviate that cost for your seller. So it's a great thing to have, okay? That's it. Nice seeing everybody.
Awesome.
Say hi.
Thank you. All right, our breakfast sponsor, New Wings. Who's talking?
Yeah. Hi, thank you.
Hello, everybody.
This is not Celeste.
During the day and more during the night, I'm Celeste. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for inviting us, Realty One. We are New Wings, a construction company here in Las Vegas. We have been doing construction, residential and commercial, for the last 18 years. And we just want to be supportive of yourself plus your clients as well. Sometimes you guys need a reliable construction company to give advice to your clients, or there is quotes that are needed, maybe a remodel or something that is really holding your sales up a little bit. So we're here to assist you on anything regarding construction. We also can do our own construction documents, which is very, very handy if the client needs a little bit of a bigger remodel. And we are own subcontractors, so we have our own licenses for mechanical, electrical, ironwork, all in-house, a team that is here to help you making more money. So
Awesome.
that's pretty much it. So
Any
if
questions?
you have any question, it would be nice.
About the
Where's your
furnish.
contact?
Oh, okay.
Where's your contact info?
Oh, we will give you our cards
Oh,
right in a minute, so you can have our contact information. Our office is in in Henderson, but we have a multi-zoning license, so we can work in any jurisdiction of the city. North Las Vegas, Henderson City, Clark County, yeah, doesn't matter.
Cool.
You wrote here, design, build, and furnish. What about the furnish?
Furnish is in case a client may need it. This is mostly for projects in which are bigger, right? The client needs not only a construction remodel, but also needs cabinetry work, casework, millwork, countertops, a bit more holistic, the remodel. Instead of just leaving the client up to him and fight in the market which contractors to find or where to buy materials and how to do many things. If the client needs it and wants it, we can kind of offer a holistic package for that. And we can fix that door as well.
I see what you did there.
Then we have to kind of talk about it. But also we welcome referrals. I've been a realtor myself. You can hear my accent. I'm originally from Argentina, so Celeste and Romina's my cousin. Of course, the team is bigger than our three, but we're here just to represent mostly the business development side of our company, the faces that perhaps you can relate, and if you have any question, you can kind of call so you can see our faces. We're here to answer any of your questions, any of your needs, on the go. If your clients have any concern, we're not gonna charge you money for assisting you selling your product or leasing or whatever you need. As well, we have an opportunity to be in front of them for ourselves doing construction.
I just wanted to understand the scale of the projects, like how small versus how big.
Great question. Thank you so much for asking. I would say that in residential it's a bit different than commercial. In commercial, your clients are gonna be more forced to hire a GC because they cannot go and do it on their own. In residential, if you have the skills, you can do any job because it's your home. But the ability of handymans is there for your clients, so they can do small remodels for your clients. So I would say that we become more advantageous when a handyman cannot do the work. When you need an electrician licensed and insured, you have a mechanic, also air conditioning, you need a insured and licensed subcontractor, and also the client may need a reliable construction company to oversee the project because they may be busy, they don't understand construction. So for those projects, we are very, very beneficial. For things smaller than that, in which the client just want to do it on their own, I would say it's not worth it. But when the service start coming into account, or it's the need of the client, just have a good service for that particular remodel, then we start being a better option.
Okay, so if somebody wanted to do a full kitchen and bath remodel, that'd be something you guys would do?
Anything your client cannot, I would say yes, but it would be, even if it's very small, if your client doesn't want to do it and it needs someone reliable, then we can be a good source.
Okay.
But yes, I would say that frequently speaking, are bigger jobs than small jobs when the clients may be more needing a construction company.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the,
You build from A to Z, like if I give you a land, if it's a land. you
Yes, we
build
also
it,
do new construction,
You burn it from A to Z.
A to
License.
C. Yeah, and I think one of the biggest advantage I've seen my clients are taking from us is our ability to do the construction drawings for the things that we will be building, because then the drawings are more aligned to the cost and the reality of the project. When they hire an architect and engineers, which is fine, we can actually take those drawings and build them. Sometimes they don't know numbers, right? Just they know what they know. But either way, we can take those drawings and build either a remodel of a new construction, or we can generate our own drawings in-house to remodel or build that property, residential or commercial. So,
awesome. Thanks again.
thank you so much.
And
Thank
thank you
you.
for the breakfast. All right. Today, it is June 20th, right? Food truck out there is going to be Tiki's Hawaiian Gourmet Hot Dogs. They'll be out there from 11 to 1:30. Our red, white, and barbecue is coming up Next Thursday, we'll be barbecuing up some hamburgers and hot dogs and, I don't know, maybe we'll have some adult beverages. I don't know, maybe. Easy there. All right, we are still collecting water. Just disregard the dates. We'll be collecting water all summer long for the homeless. Even though it's cooled off a bit over the last few days, it's gonna warm up into the 110s again real quick. So it's hot out there. If we could just do, just a little thing to help the homeless out, then let's do it. All right, July 16th to the 19th is the Mike Ferry Superstar Retreat. Who's been to a Mike Ferry Superstar Retreat? What do you guys think? Good? Did you get something out of it? Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. So that is the 16th to the 19th.
What is about?
What?
What is about?
That is, so Mike Ferry is one of the premier real estate trainers, and he has a coaching company. And for 3 days, he talks about business, how to get business, what to do with your business. And so he's been doing it for since like the 70s or something. He's like older than dirt. But the information is really, really good. Now,
Very motivating.
who is just thinking about going? Thinking? There's a couple of you.
Thinking about what's
So going. So I bought a ticket. So Mike Ferry spoke last week at a broker's seminar at LVR, and he gave us the option of purchasing a ticket and getting one free. So I'll be going. I have a ticket, but I also have an extra ticket. Haven't decided how I'm going to give it out yet. Whether it's a drawing or what.
It's not in here?
It's not in there, no, sorry. All right, so if you're interested, she has no idea I'm doing this, but if you're interested in some sort of drawing or raffle for it, let Stephanie know. And I guess we'll put your name in a hat, but only put your name in the hat if you're really gonna go. It's the 16th to the 19th. All right?
What month?
July. Not this month. It's already gone. All right. Baseball coming up in July 20th, I believe. Yeah, July. It is a Saturday. Tickets are $50 a piece. We have a whole area to ourselves. We have a full-on, they cater it, so we have food that's only ours, and it's just it's a blast. So that is July 20th. They play Salt Lake, the Salt Lake Bees. So that should be fun. And let's talk stats. So this is our this week's stats. Active listings 5614. Of those, 4,059 are single family. We have under contracts 3,469, and solds 2,565. And then look at the month's inventory. It's creeping up ever so slightly. I think we were at 2 months last week, and then we got down to like 1.7 just a couple of months ago. So let's compare it to last week. So active listings 5614, so it's gone up a little bit, a couple of hundred. Under contracts 3,469 compared to 3,476. So that's why the month's inventory is creeping up. Less sales, more listings. We're still in a seller's market though. So even though that's creeping up, we're still, because of our inventory is so low. So, which means that you guys need to go out there and get more listings. Who's got listings right now? And how long have they been on the market?
Well, that's going on today.
It's going on today.
Yeah, so usually like 3-4 days have been this year for me on all my listings.
Yeah. Her listings are selling in 4 days. Yours too, right? Yeah, your listings are selling quick. So it's, you know,
Multiple offers.
Yeah.
multiple
Yes,
offers.
multiple offers.
You know, back in the day, I used to tell agents, if you want quick money, you know, get yourself a buyer, put them in escrow. Not now, you know, get yourself a listing, you're gonna sell it quick. I'd much rather work with a seller right now than a buyer right now, and you have to, you know, end up, you know, making, you know, multiple offers on multiple properties, you know, when you're working with a buyer and getting outbid, and it's just been very, you know, very frustrating. So go get yourself a listing or 2 or 3 or 10. 10. What's that?
I was just waving at Justin as he bought
All right. Speaking of,
Look at that intro.
yeah. You know, Tim has, you know, he's always, you know, writing all over our walls, and we're supposed to figure out what it means. I think, you know, as a kid, he was into graffiti on the sides of the freeways.
Still in graffiti. This is my, this is how I decompress. How's everybody? Good. I'm glad there isn't more than 9 people in there because I get stage fright after I've got number 10. Anyway, anybody know this good-looking guy right here? Everybody know him?
Yeah.
No?
Who the hell is Brad?
I've been working with him for a long time, still haven't seen his face, and then, seriously, right? He closed so many deals, and I was like, hey, who are you?
That was just a couple weeks ago out here, yeah.
Who thinks we look alike? Like
Separated at birth.
Like 3 times, like over the last 3 months, somebody's like, "Hey, Brad," and I'm like,
I get the same thing all the time.
"Do you?"
Yeah.
Hey,
Brad.
Did I say, "Hey, Brad"?
Until I started coloring my hair
Nice. Anyway, Brad is an amazing escrow officer. I'm super excited to be working closely with him. I want to thank you for coming down, taking time away from your desk. I certainly couldn't do what he does day in and day out. You're amazing. You also are available sometimes after hours, which I think is great.
For you guys, I'll definitely give you guys my cell phone number.
Yeah, that's cool. And then we pass this out and around. Any questions on this? 30% off? Is there something that they need to do that?
I think, no, I'm good. Yeah, you have to put this verbiage actually on the MLS.
Right below the 30%.
That verbiage has been vetted with a division. You're okay to use that. There's a lot of people that have been asking me, are you guys still doing it? Because we've been doing it for what, 3 years now, something like that?
Yeah.
Yes, we're still doing it because it's still giving you guys a little bit of leverage to get deals through to us. So, yep, we're still doing it. We'll do it, probably do it forever.
Okay, cool. Short and sweet for us today. I do have a question. I'm going to go old school on this. Google my profile. Google my business. Who has one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who would like to learn more? So I'm going to do a workshop, and I'm torn between optimizing your online presence. So when somebody types in top real estate professionals near me, we would like you to rise to the top. So I'm going to do a workshop on this or this. Show of hands. Google my profile. 1.
Wait.
Come on now.
Who wants to see both of them?
Okay. All right. Okay, so it's a tie. Great. Also in the private Facebook group, you can go vote. Just do a search for my name. There's a poll in there, but I'll get these worked out with you. We're out. Any questions for Brad? I know you have a question. You can sync up afterwards.
I just want to make an observation.
Please do.
Cool shoes, dude.
You like those?
As you all know, I'm all about shoes, so.
Shoes and Porsches.
I actually have more shoes in the White House. Yeah, and I can't sneak them in because she works in, we call it the cloffice. So she works from home. So she sits in there, and my shoes are right here. So I'm like,
no problem.
I'm like, I can't even sneak in a new pair. All right, appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Tim. All right. Let's talk. Oh, shit. Did I just say that? Somebody stole my piece of paper I had up here. So I got an email the other day. An agent had questions regarding the NAR settlement, how things are going to work going forward, and I'm like, this is the stuff we talk about every single week. Clearly, he's not one of the ones in here, but so just, you know, debrief everybody on the whole NAR settlement. It's all gonna come into effect allegedly on August 17th. What's gonna happen on August 17th? Who can tell?
The new law. Nothing?
Some people are saying nothing's gonna happen, but for right now, co-ops are going away on the MLS. That co-op will no longer, as of August, so what do you need to do different if you're taking a listing today?
Negotiate with those.
Today, nothing. You take your listing just
Until the day
as.
before that, we still can.
Now, you can still have the conversation with your seller as what's gonna happen going forward. Does this also mean that after August 17th, sellers will no longer pay buyer's co-op? No, absolutely not. There's still people out there that believe that. That was one of the questions in that email I got from the agent. Here's the thing is, we just need to have better conversations. We need to have better conversations with our buyers. We need to have better conversations with our sellers. We need to let them know what's going on. What if a seller says, I hear we don't have to pay commissions anymore, so how much do you charge? What are you gonna say?
You never should pay commissions.
Yeah, you never had to pay, so they're gonna say, I don't wanna pay a buyer's commission. Then what are you gonna say?
Your house is gonna sit.
Do you like living in this house?
Yeah, very likely, you're gonna have a hard time getting a buyer. And you can explain how the system works. But here's the thing, we need to get really, really good at our presentations. Whether it's our buyer presentation, and everyone was saying, well, you need to get great at a buyer presentation, you need to get great at a buyer. Yeah, we do, but we also need to get really great at our listing presentation as well. Even if some of you have great listing presentations. Paul and Robert have taught our their listing presentation classes to us, and they've been great. But now they're changing. You're gonna have to really, really, communicate how the commissions are going to work going forward. So, I'll get off my soapbox for now. I'll probably be back on next week, but, Miranda said, nothing's gonna happen on August 17th. Some people are saying that could get kicked back even further again, because the courts aren't even going to, see it until November. So some people are saying, it might not happen until November. I still think it's gonna happen August 17th.
It just seems like it's all over the place still,
Yeah.
unsettled.
Yeah, even our the forms, I know California just rolled out like a dozen new, they changed some forms, rolled out new forms. We're still waiting, we have nothing. I have a copy of a buyer brokerage agreement that's supposedly, they're going to change it to. I hate it. It goes from 3 pages to 5 pages. I think they should shrink it instead of, make it bigger, but, so we're still waiting. I don't think they've changed the purchase agreement or the listing agreement yet.
Really, too, if you think about it, for a seller, nothing has changed.
Yes.
Other than one thing, which is we can't advertise that co-op.
Yep.
That's the only thing that's changed for the seller. The buyer's a different story.
Yeah.
That's kinda has some more
Absolutely.
significant changes.
Yeah.
But for a seller, if you just think I'm doing exactly what I've been doing, one change.
Yeah.
I can't advertise the co-op you offer. I have to communicate it.
I can't advertise it on
In
the
the
MLS.
Yeah, the MLS. yeah.
Still advertise it wherever else we want. Mr. Einbinder,
So if this does change, say you
when
have.
it changes.
If it
Oh,
does.
Einbinder and I have a little bet. He says it's not gonna change at all.
$100. Anyways,
You all heard that.
August 17th. But say it does change and you have 3% listed in the MLS and it's a 6% listing, and then, the next day somebody
Poof,
goes.
it's gone.
Yeah, it feels.
So,
It's
so
gonna
you get,
affect
so you get
the-
6% on the
You
sale?
stop it, what's your listing agreement say?
You get 6%?
Still 6%.
It's going to affect all the listing that was listed in the market before that day?
Poof, goes away.
See, if the listing is now,
Your listing isn't going to change.
I know, but
Yeah,
it
there's
was
just
listed before that
There's
day.
just the co-op in the MLS will go
Yeah, there's
away.
two things going on, there's your listing agreement and there's MLS. The
My
field
question
will
is, if your
disappear.
co-op is
It
3%,
disappears.
and
It
then,
doesn't matter what you have in it.
the next day, can your commission go from 3% to 6%?
Well, the listing
And not pay out a buyer's co-op?
It's
Good luck selling it.
But it's so simple, you
Good luck
guys.
selling it.
If,
The home.
Well,
if the seller says he doesn't wanna pay you a commission, he doesn't wanna pay the buyer's commission, you say, well, I'm gonna have agents calling me to see what the co-op's gonna be for that. What am I gonna tell them?
No, you
It's
as a
zero.
seller not paying the buyer, you're paying me as
Correct.
a listing, I'm
Correct.
paying for part of
And
my.
when the
commission.
seller asks, okay, they're gonna call me to see what I'm gonna get, and I'm
So
gonna, they're giving
we're,
0.
we're
but guess
going
what?
to
I'm
come
not gonna
up
show your
with
property.
best practices on, and we'll come up with actual scripts on how to handle these exact situations.
And until we see how
Jay.
the listing is
Yeah.
gonna change.
Is it still in the talks that?
We have a question over here, guys.
I know originally they talked about, buyer makes, buyer's agent tells them, hey, I charge 2.5%.
Mhm.
Now, if the listing agent was offering 3%,
Mhm.
buyer's agents only negotiate 2.5%, what happens to the other 0.5%?
All right, I'm guessing, and it hasn't been clarified, but I'm guessing it stays with the listing agent. Because you can't accept more than what you negotiated on your buyer brokerage agreement. So what Jake said is, if your buyer brokerage agreement says 2.5%, but the seller is offering 3%, you can only accept 2.5%.
I think a lot of
But
clarification will
he's-
come when the forms are rolled.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Because if you can have a bracket of, like, hey, I'm charging a minimum of 2% and a maximum of 3%.
Yep, you can't have a range.
Or if you're able to redo the form for each property.
That's been discussed
There is
as
a
well.
million ways
Yeah.
to skin
Yeah.
a cat.
Let's say if I have a printout of a listing saying that I'm offering 3 a day before they go away, and I made the offer already, and we are in escrow.
So so if you're already in escrow,
Yeah.
you're gonna get paid whatever it said at the time you went under
Or if
contract.
I'm not, no, I have to
Then you
print
have
out
to,
saying,
then you have to negotiate.
a day after it disappears, but I haven't printed out in
Yep.
MLS says.
Then you have to negotiate your, commission, if you're representing the buyer.
It's not, you just have to wait. for-
All right, one last question.
He said that on the seller side, there is no different. There is, because right now, seller side pays 6%. After,
It's not necessarily 6%, it could be
5 or
7, it could be 5,
yeah,
it
it's
could be
negotiable.
4.
I'm just giving an example. Let's say now they pay 6%,
Mhm.
so after that, it's gonna be 3 and 3. 3 for the buyer, 3 for the seller, so there is a change. Cause now the buyer doesn't need to pay
Yep.
6, that's all the conflict in the court.
Mhm. Yeah, everything's gonna be negotiable.
Yeah,
And,
that's
and
of
like
course.
Robert
Everything's
said, a
gonna be
lot
the
of it's gonna
same.
be spelled out in the forms, Miranda.
Everything's gonna be the same.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, even now, if I see something that says 1.5% or something and it's been sitting, I'll call and ask.
Yeah, if they'll pay more,
Mhm.
yep. And here's the thing, a lot has been said about, agents, they don't answer the phone, right? So you're gonna call, you're representing the buyer, you pull up the listing, you're gonna call and find out what the commission is, and they don't answer the phone, what do you do?
Email, text.
I'm gonna write that offer anyways at whatever the buyer, is willing,
But also too, you have to communicate that. It's very important, because if it is 0 and they agree to 2.5, it affects their offer.
Mhm.
So you do need to know,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know.
But I'm gonna write it, but you have to have good
Yeah.
communication with your buyer and let them know. They said 0, or I wasn't able to get a hold of them, but we're still going to submit this offer at the 2.5, 3, whatever it is. All right,
Okay, but when you do that, Mark, you're expecting your buyer to pay, I'm sorry, you're expecting your buyer, don't talk like that, nice shoes. You're expecting your buyer to do that, pay that, or we're submitting it, I'm submitting it on a purchase agreement to the listing agent, or to the sellers?
I'm asking the seller to pay.
Okay, that's what.
Yep.
Now, if they say no, they're gonna counter it or do whatever.
If you get a counter, they say zero, then you can tell the buyer, says, well, I don't have money for the cancel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good, okay.
All right.
If you're canceling the deal because you're not getting paid, are you doing your due diligence?
No, you're not canceling because you're not getting paid. Your buyer is opting not to because they don't have the money to pay.
They don't wanna accept that counter.
If I forget about my pay, he's able to buy the property.
You wanna work for free?
Do you know what I'm saying? It's
I
this
know,
little.
I know. We don't work
So
for
they
free.
really love the property and they're qualified, is the deal is mine for
So if you accept zero commission, we still get our 8,000, whatever, so. You gonna write a check?
Just like commercial.
I didn't hear that.
Just, it's the buyer's decision. You know, we're giving the buyer all the information so that they can make
It's
an
going to
informed
be part
decision.
of the buyer's cost, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Before it wasn't transparent, now it's going to be completely transparent. If you ask the buyer at the end of a transaction, what did your agent get paid, they have no clue.
It's much
Now they're gonna know.
like commercial, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice
Commercial
meeting.
is very much like that. With that being said, here's my segue.
Nice lead.
We have our commercial panel. We have Robert, we have Rich, and we have Paul. Come on up, guys. Okay.
Oh, great, put me in the middle.
Put me in the middle, man.
I'm gonna be in the middle.
Cause you're less.
Oh, okay, I'll be quiet.
First of all, I want to thank all three of you. So these guys, you know, they're not getting anything out of this. I mean, they are just givers. They've all taught classes for us. They've all been up here, you know, teaching their listing presentations or whatever. When Steph reached out to them and said, hey, we want to put a commercial panel together, are you guys willing? And they all said, yeah, no problem, when is it? You know, so first of all, I want to thank you very, very much. Appreciate you guys more than you ever have an idea. All right. Let's talk commercial. All right? So first of all, let's just start with some introductions. Name, email address, phone number? No. Just, you know, how long have you been in real estate? And how long have you been doing commercial? We'll start with Paul.
Got my license in '09. Started off with residential when the housing market was really starting to fall apart.
Can you imagine starting in real estate in 2009? What were you thinking?
I was thinking I need to get out of my corporate job. And I don't care how bad the market is, I'm gonna make this work, so just determination.
And you did?
Yeah, so residential, started in '09, commercial, started learning about it, I wanna say the end of '21. And then started really dabbling and started doing some deals in '22. So just a couple years in commercial real estate.
Awesome. Robert?
Licensed in January 2003, so 21 and a half years roughly. Started doing.
He's the dinosaur of the group.
Yeah, I probably am the dinosaur of the group, yeah. I don't look it though. Started doing commercial, dabbling in it maybe around 2000, maybe in the last 10 years. So I don't know, do the math on that, 23, 24-ish. And, you know, doing it like primarily residential still, you know, so we're very different from like regular commercial agents that go to commercial brokerage and that's all they do. We all, I think, started residential, and then as you gain a lot of residential experience, you feel a little bit comfortable to move into that different world. And so when we did, it was after we were really comfortable with residential, I would imagine. You know, you felt like you knew it like the back of your hand, you were safe to take that little extra challenge on. And so, yeah, about 10 years ago, I started doing commercial.
Richard?
I started, I think
Where
it
do
was
you go by Ricardo?
2011, Ricardo or Richard?
Rich Howard, if he goes, hey,
2011, 2012. did real estate, just the residential side for about 2 years. And then actually I jumped into land with Danny.
Yeah.
And we started doing land, and as we were doing land, we ran into some commercial, we started to do the commercial deals too. So I'd probably say, probably about 10 years, give or take, that I've been doing commercial. One thing that I'll say to all the agents is, you all have a license that would allow you to do commercial if you would wanna get educated in the commercial part of it. Cause in reality, you're running your career halfway, if you think about it, cause you're only focusing on one side, so.
Which is not a bad thing, because I will tell you that a lot of residential agents who start doing commercial will tell you, initially, I took a big hit in my business, because, you know, residential, there's a lot more houses that sell than buildings, you know, and it's a lot easier to step into that world. And so to do the commercial end, which can be very time consuming, it took away from my residential quite a bit. And so I had some lulls when as I was doing some of those commercial deals and getting over my own learning curve. So it may be better to be do 50%. You know, if you do something very specific and it's only half of what the total pie is, but you're very good at it, you may get a bigger piece than if you did a small fraction of both. So, something to think about, but.
But at the same time, you also have not just the sales, cause I think more than sales, you probably do more commercial leases than the sales in commercial.
Yeah, that's true.
And the commercial leases pay very good too,
Yeah,
so.
they can definitely, yeah.
So what percentage of all of your business is commercial and what percentage is residential? Since you all do both still.
So mine, I still consider myself kind of new to the commercial side. Maybe 10% of my business right now is about commercial, and the majority of that is like they said, leases.
And ideally, what percentage would you want?
100%?
100% commercial, no residential?
I'd love to go 100% commercial.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting,
Yeah.
okay.
About 10% over the 10 years, about 10%. So, like I said, there's more residential deals. They seem to be quicker, and you know, when you got your establishment that way, you have a big sphere or network. So about 10%. But it's kind of like Richard was saying, where you did that for a while, and then you have a client who says, "Hey, I also want to lease a building," and you're like, "Well, why don't I do that? Because this client wants to use me, and I'm not comfortable yet." So you refer them out. I'm not comfortable yet. You refer them out. Then eventually you say, "Okay, I'm gonna tackle this." You know. So about 10%, I'd say, over the 10 years of it is in transaction volume, not in dollar amount. There's been years where 70% of my income came from the commercial, because big, huge deals with $120,000 paychecks, you know. But transaction-wise, it's probably 10% or less.
And for the last 2 years, I think mine's probably jumped more, probably like 70%, on the commercial side, more than the residential. But the nice thing when you can handle both of them is that when the residential side goes crazy with all these multiple offers, well, then you can drop a little bit there and then concentrate more on one side. If it's on the opposite side, then you go back to the residential. If they're both doing good, you do both of them at the same time. If they both go down, then you get out of real estate.
Well, luckily, when things went down in 2008, 9, and 10, you know, a lot of us didn't get out of, you know, real estate, because we struggled, but we still did.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's talk about what it takes to become a commercial agent. Who wants to go first?
The knowledge. That for me was just like, where do I get the knowledge? Because it was always.
Where do you get the knowledge?
Yeah. So luckily, I got the knowledge. Kind of, Richard was the bridge to offering some classes that we took a couple of years ago, and fortunately, there was some good knowledge there. Limited knowledge. It just seems like the commercial knowledge that is out there, it's limited. It just seems like you really gotta struggle to get the proper education and knowledge in order to do commercial real estate. But the good thing is, lean on the commercial real estate agents that are currently in the office, especially here at Realty One. I have, and they've all been very, very helpful when I've come across a problem. So, yeah, to me it was just trying to get the knowledge of doing it correctly and properly. Because I'll tell you what, like Robert mentioned, some of these deals are big, and last thing you want to do is screw up the relationship with your client and do something wrong with them, whether it's a lease or a purchase. So it's almost kind of like when you get your real estate license at residential at the beginning, you're like, okay, I do not want to screw this up. I want to make sure everything is done correctly to the T. So that would be my answer.
Get the knowledge.
Yeah, I would say start with your broker, because you wanna see what they require to even allow you to do it. Because most brokerages either won't allow it or have stipulations. So ask about that, and then training, I took some, it was an online course. I actually went and took some CCIM classes. CCIM is the commercial, the institute that is the most accredited.
Designation.
Yeah, it's a designation, but it also comes with education. And it's complex education. They have it all over the United States. You can tax write off, go to Hawaii or California and take some classes. That's what I did. And it'll start with like introduction to commercial, like 101, 102, and then like go on, and you can eventually get a designation. You have to have a lot of sales volume to get it. When I was going to the classes, it was over 25 million in commercial sales in order to get the designation. So there's a lot of education there, very expensive education, thousands of dollars per class. I took a few of those. Those gave me some basic knowledge. A lot of other commercial professionals are taking them, because if you look in the commercial field, a lot of them have CCIM designations. So that's one way. I went and took some online classes. They sent, this was 10 years ago, so they sent CDs. They don't do that anymore, everything's digital download, right? And I had to watch like 40 to 80 hours of them, and then you take little questionnaire tests, and then write an essay, send it in, and they give you a designation. I did that. But also, like these guys said, even so, when you got your residential license, right, you came out, I took 80 hours of class, I passed a test, I know everything. That you found out quickly you knew nothing, right? You found out, okay, it's much different from answering a question about how many square feet are in an acre. Nobody cares. It's not how you sell real estate. So you gotta get practical experience in the field, but you don't wanna do it making mistakes. So I think he's right, the best way to do and start getting your foot in is maybe team up with someone who's done some deals specifically on a product type, and see if they'll, split the deal with you or something, and actually engage them if you're wanting to learn it. Because a lot of people say, oh, I wanna do a deal with you, I wanna learn, and if I help you out, we'll give you a 50% referral fee, da-da-da-da, and then they go, okay, here, and then it's like, oh, no, I'm busy, once they give it to you. No, you're not gonna learn anything that way. You just got a referral fee, and the next time they're not gonna give you the same
And
one.
here's the thing with that, and excuse me if I speak a little bit out of line here, is a lot of times the agents will come to the commercial agents and say, hey, I want to learn from you, can you help me? But I want, split it 50-50. I think, personally, that if just a regular referral, you're getting 25% on, right? But then you're splitting it, I think you should get more, when you're doing that as opposed to less. Because not only are you doing the transaction, but you're also teaching them at the same time. So I think that things are just a little skewed there. But that's just my opinion.
And commercial's very, very different from residential, very different, in a lot of regards. But even commercial agents, you will call them and they'll say, no, we only do apartment complexes.
Yeah.
That's their niche, that's all we do, and we have 20 of them in the valley. And you ask about a warehouse, no, we know nothing about warehouses. We know nothing about this, we just do apartment complexes, so very specialized. So sometimes when you, as a residential agent who does a little bit of commercial, are going to look and talk to them, you feel like a fish out of water, because they're so specialized and you're so generalized,
And that's the other thing with commercial is, with residential, it's pretty cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just keep going through them. With commercial, there's so many different types of commercial. There's apartments, there's warehouses, there's restaurants, I mean, you can go on and there's leases, there's purchases. There's so much more to learn in commercial than there is in residential. And that's why that we say that you have to get, you know, approved to do commercial, because it's just so much more.
Yeah, and well, liability and
Yeah.
a lot of issues.
I'll tell you, I've been doing this for 29 years now, and I've never done a commercial deal. I've always, when I have somebody, I've always just referred it to a commercial agent. That's not my area of expertise, commercial, and I prefer to stay within my area of expertise. What else? What about, did I miss something?
No, did I lead this one, says I
I told him you lead on this one.
Oh. Let's talk about actually getting clients. How do you get commercial clients? Besides referring from agents, which is a great way.
Which, that's probably the most of my business, referred from other agents in the office. Networking with other clients from other clients that I work with residential too. That I've sold properties to in residential, need something in commercial.
I mean, work your database?
Work the database.
That's a novel idea.
Absolutely.
What about you guys?
Same, referrals from other agents, even from different offices. Also, they touched on it before, I was working with a residential buyer a few months ago, and he's moving here from South Dakota. And, oh, by the way, he goes, I own my own business, can you help me purchase a warehouse for my tool shop? And, you know, for the first time, I'm like, yes, yeah, absolutely. I didn't have to say, you know, I can reach someone else. So, to me, I love that feeling. But anyway, so, yeah, it's, most of the business will be from referral, but every now and then, you'll get, you'll be working with a client, and they'll be talking about a business that they wanna open, or they've done, and, yeah, that's how you get some of the business.
I have a question. Construction companies, I am constantly working with commercial clients that are looking for building a building, doing a TI, a commercial TI, and in order to close my deal on construction, I need you guys helping my client finding the place. So,
Do you have experience?
signature.
Do you have experience with commercial kitchens and everything? Yeah.
It's one of our expertise.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's something like that.
You guys can talk later on that, but,
Same. A little different from these two, not as many referrals from in-house, mine have been from clients. So a lot of my clients who bought houses or are a little higher net worth people have said, hey, I wanna do real estate investing as well, and I've helped them. So I've got referrals from agents within the office, but a lot of times they haven't worked out, I would say almost all the time.
A lot of times they don't work out. You
And
got-
it's because of the vetting process, which we definitely should talk about at some point.
Yes.
One of my biggest referrals came from somebody that worked with one of our vendors.
Yeah.
And actually did 3 other companies for those, so that was really good.
so you mentioned the vetting process, talk about that.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest point of contention a lot of times, because for me, like, when an agent comes to me with a referral, I take it very personal, so I'm like, I really wanna do good for them, you know, kinda take it even more personal than for myself. So it's like, I really wanna try to make it work. But then when you get into it, you start to talk to the person, you realize that the person referring it, you really just were looking for a little referral money. You didn't do any homework. You know, we don't wanna hear from people, hey, I wanna build an indoor basketball court and I'm trying to get investors. No. Going knocking on rich people's doors and asking them for $1 million to build out a basketball court, usually 99.99999% with 1 million other nines after it, it's hell no, you know? So, no, don't, you tell them, no, before I send you to my guy, cause I don't wanna exhaust him, and then, cause what happens the next time that you call 5 times after, it's, sorry, I'm too busy, yeah, send it to someone else, because you don't wanna spend so much time that you could've spent 10 minutes. I'm trying to get investors, okay, hey, listen, I've talked to my commercial guys before in the past, you know, as long as you can get the investor lined up and you have some proof of funds, they'll get into the streets for you.
That's the big one. If you've got a client who was talking about a commercial property, let them know, just like residential, you know, proof of funds.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
It's even more important, because in the residential sector, anybody can get a loan. There's FHA, VA, right? They have government programs to get you a loan. In the business sector, not the same. You know, you have to have a lot of money. Yes, there is SBA, but you still require a lot of money down. So it's not like buying a house, you know. Anybody with like a pulse, a credit score, and a job can get a house. That's not the same for a commercial. You have to have pockets, you know.
And a business plan.
Yeah, and a business plan and all kinds of stuff like that. So do more vetting, not less. And if they're offended by your questions of financial situation,
They probably don't have it.
then guess what?
They don't have it.
Guess what? It's a bad relationship, starting out with someone who doesn't wanna communicate with you. If you can't show the money and you're feeling like, oh, I don't wanna ask them about proof of funds, let's let the agent do it. No, because then we become the bad guy, and then they come back to you and say, yeah, that guy was sucked. All he wanted to do is ask me for proof of funds, and where's my money? You know I'm good for it. No, this is not a game, it's real life. In order for us to get doors opened in commercial real estate, we have to call an agent 20 times, right? Over the course of 2 weeks, email them, they don't respond. Call their office, get the gal on the phone, gets us to the broker, say, I've called this guy for 2 weeks, he doesn't answer my phone, oh, he's on vacation, what can I help you with? You know, and then you finally say, hey, we wanna see this building, great, send over the proof of funds, we'll meet you at the property, right? And so now you've wasted 2-3 weeks of our time because you didn't wanna either provide it up front, or you said, oh, I'll get it later, or I don't have the investor. So just do a little bit of vetting, you know? Act as if they're coming to you to have you take them out and look at houses. Do you wanna get in the car with someone you know nothing about? No. So do this.
Make sure they're pre-qualified.
Yeah, exactly, and make sure that they have some proof of funds. Even if they say, oh, I'm gonna get a loan, great, I need to see proof of funds, because there's no 100% loans in commercial.
And another thing important about that too is, depending on how strong you are financially to show, it puts you in a better position to be able to negotiate like lease terms for them to get TIs. And I wanna open up a restaurant, I got $20,000, keep the $20,000 going, again, open up a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you'll need at least a couple $100,000 minimum, and that's cause just to build out a kitchen is gonna cost you $250,000 to $300,000, depending how crazy you wanna go with it, so.
And they wanna see the landlords, and you can't blame them, they wanna see, is this a startup business? Not interested in you at all. Is this a business that you have done elsewhere? And you have, she's not interested. Just kidding. But you know, or do they have like a track history? Do they have 2 other restaurants here in town or in another state, and they have financials? Because they're gonna wanna see that, you know?
So some bigger shopping centers won't even consider
No.
you if you're not even a multinational, like
Plus, yeah.
you gotta be a multinational for them.
You're a Subway, a Porta Subs, you're a Papa John's, you're an Albertsons, you're a Smith's. You don't have huge name recognition with large financial backing, no, they won't touch it. Not the good ones, the crappy sides of town, they'll take anybody.
All right, we're almost out of time here, but let's talk about horror stories. And I'm gonna start.
I got the best one.
Good.
I think I got the best.
No, I got
All right, I'm gonna start,
I-
because I think I have the best one.
All right, let's hear it.
So years ago, we're talking the early 90s, when I was a restaurant manager, I had a cook, he was a buddy of mine, and his father used to come in every day and as a customer, and I got to know him, and you know, found out that he was in real estate. This is long before I even thought about getting into real estate. Found out that he was in commercials. I used to talk to him a lot about his business and everything. And he had this one deal that he had been working on for like a year and a half, $20 million deal that he was anticipating several $100,000 in commissions. And the day before it was supposed to close, it all blew up, and he did everything he could to keep it back together, but he couldn't. So he was expecting the next day to have several $100,000, and he has zero. So that's the horror, not my horror story, but.
You wanna go
Did he
I'll
leave the
let you go.
industry?
You want me
What's
to
that?
tell
Did he
the
leave the
others?
industry?
Okay.
Was he
Uh,
outside?
No, you stay.
So I had an agent refer me a client, and I take 4 multifamily buildings and I list all 4 of them. I get 1 under contract, I'm negotiating on the second one, and I get a call from the attorney, representing the district attorney of Colorado, that they needed to meet with me because of a big fraud that was going on. And I'm like, okay, I start shaking, I'm like, okay, that's not good. So I had to end up meeting with him, had to meet up with the employees from the owner of those. And what it was, he was grabbing people's money from hedge funds and everything, investing it, and he was just living the life with that money. And
Really?
so the guy's in prison right now, so.
And how long ago was this?
This 3, 4
He's
years ago.
And he's still in it?
So, and the funny thing, I closed on one, and he came here for the check, we gave him the money, and the next day, the court order came, they seized all of his properties, everything got seized, everything got frozen and everything, but he got, those 60,000 that he got, gave him some money to run around still a little bit longer, so they caught up to him.
So you got partially paid?
No, I got paid on all of them, I finished all of them.
His story's like.
I finished
That's
all the
story.
contracts.
That's a horror story?
No, because when I sat
No.
down with the employees, they asked.
Trust me, whenever you get a call from the DA's office or from the FBI, and I've gotten both, it's like, oh no.
Oh, no, yeah, so yeah, I got really, but no, they let me finish all the contracts and we did they honored all the listing agreements and everything got sold. Got paid for it and everything.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, mine's more of a horror story.
Yeah, we'll
Mine
be
was
the
a
judge
horror
of that.
story with a happy ending.
There we go.
I was thinking yours was a Disney movie with one villain. Everybody knows the villains. Wow. So mine was a restaurant, and it was kind of in the beginning when I was a little bit newer, and that's why I said it can really pull away from your residential. And when you're a little bit newer, you're not really accustomed to the level of mental games that happen in the commercial world. Residential is very emotional, right? You're buying your home to lay your head and live, and it's usually family, right? It's different. Commercial, there's usually not a lot of emotions involved there.
It's all about numbers.
It's about
Either
numbers.
makes sense
It's
or doesn't.
financial, yeah. So it's more strategic and game playing, right? And
More
manipulation. And more, yeah, it's just more of that. So it's a little different world. So it was a restaurant, and there was an agent office that referred it to me. This was a while back, probably closer to 7, 8 years. And so I went to list it. I knew that they were a little overpriced. This is when the market was still kind of low and not heading up, right? So when you list commercial properties, you need to understand market dynamics even more so than residential, because they can take a long time to sell, right? So if you have something that can take 1 to 2 years, you understand pricing today. If you're in an upward market 2 years from now and you still have the listing, you could catch up with upward, trajectory, and your price is here, but the prices are here today, but you have a 2-year listing, and it's like this. You may get there, right? So I listed it. I took a 1-year listing on it, restaurant. They've been sitting vacant for probably a decade, which was a terrible decision, but they listed it with me, and I told them it's overpriced, about 100, 200 grand, which is kind of a lot. I said, you're gonna attract kind of people that are not really as serious, and so anyway, we listed the property, and within 6 months, every showing is by appointment, and commercials more typical, I believe. So like every time you get a call from someone, you're like having to arrange your schedule, go down there, open doors, turn on lights, takes multiple hours, and it's every time you get a call. There's no lockbox on the door, just, oh, go check out the restaurant. No. So over the 6 months, we went in and out of escrow a couple times. We extended the listing another year, and the market was starting to come back. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna maybe catch up here. Over the second year, we went in escrow. And because I can kind of tell what was going on with the sellers, this was a very challenging situation. I convinced them to go into escrow with not the greatest buyer, but with the intention, our intention was we were going to have very strict earnest money rules and snatch earnest money as we went, if they didn't perform, right? So we had a very different strategy, and it was also to buy me more time so that the market caught up to what the price, he wouldn't budge from the price. It was like, we have to get this price for their own personal reasons. And so I said, okay, let's do this. Go into escrow with them. You're sitting there in a vacant property, you're losing money by the buckets. Let's see, let's give them a chance, but we have very strict. Over those 6 months of being escrow with that particular buyer, I snatched $76,000 worth of earnest money. And every penny of it went to the seller.
It was all non-refundable.
Yep.
Non-refundable. And it was, you release it if you want an extension. Non-refundable, you release it if you want an extension. And they kept getting extensions because they really believed they could get the financial part. So, $76,000 worth of earnest money. Mistake number one, I took none of it. Okay, because I worked for a year and a half to get them $76,000. And at this point, I'm a year and a half deep, probably about 50 showings deep, and about $5,000 in financial, like, photography, offering memorandums, yeah, all the rest of it, yeah.
Just out of pocket.
Marketing, yeah, LoopNet, property line, enhancing listings.
Just to add, and you have that responsibility on that property, you gotta be going once every 2 weeks or so to go drive by to make sure nobody's broken into.
Yeah,
Flush toilets and things, cause the smell from everything comes out.
Yeah, I was showing it so often that I had those opportunities in the showings, but if not, yes. So, $76,000 later to them, I think I eventually was able to convince them why that was smart to do. They were $76,000 richer, and the property still wasn't going to sell because they were still overpriced. So kept pushing for price reductions. I got one, not a big one, and then at the end of 2 years, the owner's wife called me, and I finally was at my end, so I let her have it. And they said, we're not renewing. I said, fine, you don't wanna lower the price, I don't want it anyway. Right, so 2 years of my life, $5,000 of cash, I got them $76,000.
And you got zip.
Zip. And, let's make it worse, because this is not a Disney story. 6 months later, an agent in our office lists it, and 1 year later, he sells it.
At a lower price?
No, at the same price, and here's why, because the market was
It
like
eventually
this.
caught up.
Yeah, it was like this, and their price was about 3 years out. I was at year 1, and I was at year 2, it didn't happen. He had it listed, it didn't happen, and then he was on his 6th or 7th month, it finally happened, and it sold. So yeah, that's a horror story.
That
That's
shit
commercial.
doesn't happen in residential.
No, that's commercial for you.
Yep.
And that's,
You have to have a lot of patience, right?
Yep.
yeah.
It's a different beast. It
Or
really
less
is.
patience is probably, I would say less patience. Because if I was less patient and more stern and harder, I would have said, hey, we need to write something in the listing agreement. When we get earnest money released, I'm getting a percentage of that. Because I'm, like if you were to hire an attorney, right, and they were to go to work for you and battle for you and get money for you, there's no way that they're not getting a percentage of that, performance or non-performance, whether they lose in court or win in court, they're getting paid. So why shouldn't I have done something like that? The $76,000 is a lot of money.
How many cases can you estimate that you would have had able to close a deal if you would have been able to precisely give a number to your clients for that particular remodel? How many deals do you think you would have gained out of it?
Well, here's a good question. It's a very good question because a lot of the people I met, if they were working with a good GC who can come in and tell them what their renovations would be, because the thing with the restaurants is very unique is every build out has to be specific to your model. So the model that they had the restaurant, it didn't work for anybody at all. Everybody needed their own because my model was different, right? You could have more to go, you could have more dine-in, you need bigger tables, there's just differences. Your kitchen needs to be this percentage or bigger this percentage, just depends.
Bigger grill, smaller grill.
Yeah, so
whatever.
everything is different. So had they had probably better GCs they were working with and could give them more precise tenant improvements, it might have made the process go a little quicker. I don't think it would have changed the outcome for me, because at the end of the day, with the tenant improvements, even low to no tenant improvements needed, the building is overpriced. So, you know,
Is that the one that's here?
yeah,
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's so bad of a horror story, he knows it.
All right, one question, Michael.
Yeah, so what part of the commercial part are you focusing on?
That's a great question. What do you guys specialize in?
Yeah, it's like industrial, warehouse, business,
think we all do it all,
office?
I do it all.
Yeah.
All-
Yeah, see, yeah, so.
What do you
I'm
like
specialized.
doing best?
I like them all, to be honest with you, they're all different challenges, you know, industrial is really nice, restaurant spaces are really good to work with. Office spaces.
Office
really,
spaces,
really.
they tend to be the easier ones.
I think office, yeah, I would say office is the.
Isn't warehouse easy? Is this this?
It's not bad, yeah. Land, I think, is really hard, cause you then get into zoning issues, and those you really need attorneys.
Oh, that was my
Well,
next question.
even if it's already built out, whenever you're gonna do a commercial lease or if you're gonna sell a building, you gotta make sure that that zone accepts the business that they wanna put in.
Right.
You don't wanna have them buy a building or sign a lease, and now they go to open business and we can't give you a license because you're not prohibited.
We,
Not what we do, so.
we assist our clients for zone changes as well. And special use permits.
Yeah, that's
So,
huge.
so we do that a lot, and we gain access to serving those clients right there exactly at the origin. So we do have those services in-house as well.
That would have been helpful too for the restaurant, because many of the people wanted to do gaming inside of there, like slots as well as restaurant, and they need special use, and then they were within 1,000 feet of daycare facilities and stuff like that, so there was a lot of restrictions, very tough.
We have been many times at the city fighting for them in those cases with the neighbors and everyone.
All right, we need to wrap it up here, we've gone long. I just wanna thank you guys so much. You guys epitomize what Realty One is all about, so thank you very much. I also wanna mention that Miranda is also an approved, commercial agent as well, so.